everybody. This is your resident Bluvos Academy professor, Bluvos Mike. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Voscast, talking about digital success, talking about how you can enhance yourself, enhance your body, enhance your way of life. I am joined, as always, by my main man, Bluvos Cody. Cody, how's it going?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Bluvos Cody here.
And we are also joined today by our resident CEO of Bluvos, Taylor. Taylor, how's it going? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, it's going good, Mike. Thanks.
And today we're talking actually about our product, Bluvos Energy. It's an interesting product, obviously, and we believe in it quite a bit. Otherwise, we wouldn't be selling it. But the biggest thing about it is when we're looking at the title. All right, we look at it, and the biggest thing we see, and everybody sees, is Bluvos Energy. And I think Taylor and Cody, you can agree that the misconception that a lot of people see is it's primarily an energy supplement.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the misconception that, and it's easy to understand why. Like our name is Bluvos Energy. That being said, we really formulated the product to be something that's used as a cognitive enhancer. So something that primarily focuses on your brain, which is, the most important part of your body when it comes to success, when it comes to performance. So for us, that was actually the main goal when we were formulating Bluvos, was to increase cognitive potential, increase brain power.
So, looking at Bluvos Energy and what Taylor you were just saying right now is one of the biggest things about Bluvos is it's actually more so than an energy supplement. It's a nootropic supplement. And nootropics, for those of you who are not aware, is a line of natural supplements. They're natural supplements that pretty much can enhance the body. Taylor, do you want to speak a little bit more towards nootropics?
For sure, yeah. So when we first kind of came up with the idea for this product for Bluvos, we were just kind of messing around with nootropics ourselves, and we were ordering them kind of straight from the manufacturer. You get them in this kind of like silver Ziploc bag, almost looking kind of thing, and it was kind of freaky. Mixing the dosages ourselves, and it was just the whole operation was a little scary. But we definitely we saw the potential that these ingredients had, to kind of like biohack the human body, kind of enhance human potential. And we were getting really, interested in kind of the movement, the nootropic movement. And the interesting thing is, there's a lot of nootropics out there that aren't actually natural, they're synthetic and kind of created in a laboratory. The first ones are actually created in Russia. And so that was pretty interesting for us to see. We definitely wanted to focus on the natural ones. So the ones we were ordering were those natural ones. But again, we were going, having to mix it ourselves, having to get the dosages right and getting it kind of in these sketchy sort of packages. And it was really important for us that, that we kind of were able to put together something that was easy to take and also, had the right dosages, right amounts, with the right ingredients.
And one of the biggest things that you just said now, Taylor, is the fact that Bluvos and the nootropics that we use are natural ingredients. There are essentially two types of nootropics out there. There are natural ingredients, which is the only ones that are used in Bluvos Energy. And then there's synthetic ingredients. And synthetic ingredients are pretty much like any other fake ingredients. They are made in a lab. They are significantly cheaper to produce, hence why you see a lot of nootropic products on the market that promote these synthetic ingredients. Problem is that when we're looking at the research, there's not enough research that's been conducted on these synthetic nootropics to show the long-term effects on how they affect the body. When we look at natural nootropics, we're looking at natural extracts, we're looking at herbs, we're looking at mushrooms, we're looking at tree root, we're looking at all of these natural substances that enhance the body. And what we've done in Bluvos is we've created a product essentially with 4 key nootropic ingredients. And we talk a lot in our articles, and check them out on bluvos.com. You can check out Bluvos Academy for all the articles on nootropics and neurotransmitters, and essentially how nootropics affect the brain. So what we did was essentially we put together 4 key ingredients in our Bluvos formula, and we talk a lot about focus, energy, and the ability to retain attention, and cognitive enhancement through these nootropics, and that's essentially what the ideology behind Bluvos Energy is. It's not essentially a supplement that provides you energy, immediate bursts of energy. When you look at something like Red Bull or 5 Hour Energy, what it does is it helps regulate the body in a way that makes use of the energy that you currently have. We're going to talk in a little bit about the ingredients in Bluvos and kind of go in depth about them. But Cody, you have used Bluvos quite a bit, and in talking to a lot of people in our community, the Bluvos community, about Bluvos, it's interesting to see and hear the responses that we get about it, because it's not simply, oh, I felt completely energized. It's everything seems clear, or I feel like I can focus, or I feel like I can pay attention more. It's almost a sense of clarity as opposed to this jolt of energy with an inevitable crash later. And Cody, I think you can speak towards that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I can vouch for that pretty heavily, based on just years of taking supplements. Going to the gym for 8 years, I've dealt with a lot of supplements and stuff like that. So it's actually kind of funny when I first took Bluvos, before I was even part of it. I had no idea what I was taking, and I noticed it right away, and I didn't even know what was in it or what it did. So for me, to be honest, like it gave me that mental clarity. And just alertfulness, I guess you could say, like just being awake. It took the edge off, and now I take it almost every morning with my coffee, and that's just part of my daily routine. So I think I can definitely vouch for that and say that it's not your pre-workout. It's not going to make you jitter around and make you sweat all over the place. It's something different, and it just feels clean and natural. And yeah, I'm not going back. So.
One of the things that we have really pushed with Bluvos, and Taylor, I know you can speak towards this, is the idea of how natural of a supplement it is. When we looked at things on the market, we looked at something like Red Bull, we look at pre-workouts, or any powdery type energy supplement. When you look at a lot of these, there's a lot of ingredients in them. And even looking at sugars and flavoring and a lot of synthetic substances, man-made substances that over time are really not healthy for the body. We took a hard look at that, and we realized that essentially we really don't want to create a product like that. And again, Taylor, you can speak towards this, is that one reason why we put it in pill form is we don't want those flavorings. We don't want to have those added sweeteners. And certainly with a pill, that's not necessary.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think, in formulating it, it was definitely really important to us, first of all, to find natural ingredients, ingredients that do either come from the earth or come from, natural sources. And another big thing was, just like you said, to really take out the sugar side of things, because not only are you getting a lot of unnatural ingredients with these pre-workouts, with these energy drinks, but also, you're getting a ton of sugar or alternative flavorings, whether that's artificial or natural. So to us, it was really important to take that out, and doing that in a capsule form is definitely a lot easier. You don't need to make it sweet, especially with energy drinks coming under fire recently in New York, where I think they actually banned them for people under 16. I'm not actually 100% on the specifics of that. Maybe it was 18, but the sugar content is so high in energy drinks and in these pre-workouts, in these flavored beverages. Not to mention, you're only getting an energy aspect from it. as opposed to getting the cognitive or mental enhancement as well. So I really feel like the future of energy supplements will be smart energy, and that's why we call Bluvos smart energy, because it does give you a boost of energy, but it's kind of a slow, steady boost throughout the day with no noticeable crash after, and you also get the mental enhancement as well.
And one of the things that we decided to put in our Bluvos formula is a certain combination of nootropics that will allow us to provide certain energy to the body that will eliminate the crash, or that will eliminate this massive spike in energy. And that comes a lot from the ingredients that we have put together. And so we wanted to talk real quick about the ingredients and just briefly discuss them, so that obviously our listeners and our community can understand how Bluvos works. So looking first at one of the 4 nootropic ingredients, it's called alpha GPC. And when we look at alpha GPC, it really is an extract from everyday foods such as eggs, peanuts, meats, but obviously it's in very, very low levels. And really what alpha GPC does is it has been known to release dopamine levels within the body. And for those of you who don't know what dopamine is it's a type of neurotransmitter released in the brain that helps regulate functions such as memory, attention, sleep, mood, learning. And so when looking at alpha GPC, what it does is it helps regulate how your brain operates. I think we look at the old adage of too much of a there is such thing as too much of a good thing. And if you give your body this massive amount of caffeine, or you give your body this massive amount of sugar, for the moment it is going to enhance the body. But once it leaves the body, or once it stops serving its purpose, obviously the body is going to break down in the sense of that caffeine crash. And so the brain essentially works best when it is at sort of a happy medium, right? When it's working at its optimal levels. Now, we all have a different optimal level. And that optimal level is not a boosted level. It is a balanced level. All right. So when those neurotransmitters in the brain are essentially how messages are sent to and from the body about mood, about how you should be feeling. And we actually have an article about that on Bluvos Academy. You can check that out there. But what happens is when you're looking at proper regulation of the brain, it's being able to have those neurotransmitters operating at that happy medium, not higher and certainly not lower. And so if you're tired, or you're in a bad mood, or you're stressed out, the neurotransmitters are going to be off kilter, right? The brain's not going to be operating at an optimal level. And what alpha GPC does is it helps regulate that. It provides certain substances, certain nutrients to help the brain regulate. And so it'll help regulate that mood. It'll help keep the brain at a balanced state. And so, there's even some studies on alpha GPC that shown it not only improves cognition, but it also helps prevent cognitive decline. And also, there was one study of 14% improved power output during resistance activities. And that's not a boost in the brain, right? That's not providing the brain more than it needs. That's helping the brain work at its maximum potential. In terms of what your specific potential is. And so it helps create that happy medium. And that's one reason why we put it into Bluvos. Looking at another one though, this one I think all of us we can talk about as in terms of a certain amount of excitement is rhodiola rosea. This is the big one. I think Taylor, you can attest to that this was a big one that we included in here. And when we look at rhodiola, what it does is it balances the usage of serotonin in the brain. Okay. And so when you have signals of appetite, pain, behavior, blood pressure, that's really serotonin. Okay. And that what happens when it regulates it in the brain. And if those are off kilter, obviously you can have stress in the brain. All right. You can have stress in the body as well. And if the serotonin levels are balanced, the body feels relaxed, it feels focused, it feels energized. But here's the kicker, and this is what I think excites all of us, is that if the brain is relaxed and the body is relaxed, all right, the body isn't burning up energy by being stressed or being tired, all right? It's not displacing energy to a certain function. It's utilizing energy how it should be used. So if you're in a relaxed state, if your brain is balanced, if your body is balanced, it creates efficiency in terms of your energy. Just to give you an example, I was part of a business in the past that we had it was an HR management system, and it essentially allowed a company to look at their finances and how it was, how they were using their finances. And it was allowing us, based on that analysis, to use finances smarter. So we put it into a dentist's office. And over the course of a year, dentists had the same amount of patients. They didn't make any more money. They didn't have any more income coming into their office than the year previously. But based on the analysis and based on the fact that they were able to control and regulate how the money was being spent, the doctor's office, or the dentist's office rather, actually took away more money in pocket than the year before, just because they had a better hold on how that money was being used. And that's what rhodiola essentially does, is it doesn't create new energy in the body. Right, excessive amounts of caffeine. There is caffeine in Bluvos, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But excessive amounts of caffeine, excessive amounts of sugar, these are going to create spikes of energy in the body that will eventually go away. But if the body is regulated, all right, if the body is relaxed and regulated, then it can use, much like the dentist's office and using the money more efficiently, the body is going to be able to use the energy more efficiently. Imagine your body being able to regulate itself so that you can use energy more efficiently. And from you guys' experience, how have you seen Bluvos affect you in that manner?
Yeah, I think, exactly like you just said, I think the biggest thing that, as far as personal use experience goes, what I notice is, instead of feeling that, like you said, a big spike of energy, like we used to get from pre-workout supplements, energy drinks always made me nauseous, but they certainly did give me, a bit of a boost of energy. But then you get that big sugar crash. It's mostly the sugar that makes you crash, I find, more so than the caffeine. But like you said, with rhodiola, and I've actually been a personal user of rhodiola for many years. And what I always found really interesting about it was, it's been used for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, especially in the northern regions of the world where they really need to conserve their energy. And so it's been used as a natural, as a herbal remedy. And the interesting thing is, we have all these great studies now that can show us exactly why it's so awesome. But back then they didn't have studies, so it's not like it just started doing cool things. It was doing them back then as well, but they didn't study it. They could just feel that it was working. So they just knew, that it worked, and I can certainly testify to that. I think a lot of people tell me when they take Bluvos that they just kind of feel like they're supported. They just feel all of a sudden that they were tired, and then all of a sudden they're feeling okay. They're not feeling like crazy, like that's crazy energy like you get from an energy drink or pre-workout, but they just feel good again. They just feel normal. They feel like they can carry on with their day. They can perform their tasks. So I think that's actually, probably the main thing that I noticed. And I think that part of it would probably be mostly attributed to the rhodiola, as well as all the ingredients working in unison. But I know that Cody's actually really fired up about rhodiola as well. When we first started talking about the formula. So.
Yeah, I was actually in shock about rhodiola when I first read about it. I had no idea what it actually was capable of, and then as I read about it and as I took the product, I kind of realized what the effects actually were and what I was noticing from it. So definitely, this is probably the strongest ingredient in Bluvos, and it basically, if you wake up in a fog one morning, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but if you wake up and you just feel like you're in a fog, it basically takes that fog and just blows it away, and your day is clear and bright and sunny, and you can think, you can actually use your brain without having to strain yourself. That's the best way I can put it, anyways.
One of the, I think the best responses, actually the most surprising responses that I've heard about Bluvos, and this actually originally came from that focus group that we did almost a year ago, is that people said it made things clear. And that was one of the most surprising things that I ever heard. It wasn't like, oh my God, I feel like I can, just jump over the moon. No, it made things clear. And that really spoke towards, I guess, the practicality of our product, is that rather than, a scapegoat and saying, oh, I just had a boost of energy, they said, I just had a sense of clarity, like you're saying, Cody. And, I think it was very unique for us to hear.
We even had one of our first customers tweet out to us right in the early days, right around launch. He tweeted out to us that he actually did his algebra homework, and we found that very amusing. But at the same time, we were so proud that we helped this customer do his algebra, and he was just so fired up that that Bluvos was able to help him.
Now, he did the algebra, but did he do it right?
We still haven't got confirmation on that, but
all right.
Yeah, we'll find that out. Sure.
You track him down and tell him to send his homework to the resident Bluvos professor, and I'll mark it, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah, we'll grade him, and if he does well, maybe we'll give him some Bluvos.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good trade-off. So the thing is that we look at alpha GPC, we look at rhodiola, and it's amazing that it creates energy for you. It creates clarity for you. But it doesn't create new clarity. It basically takes out the potential that's already in your body. And so we wanted to think in terms of, okay, it's really, taking out the potential in your body, but how can we keep this going long term? We want to stay healthy, and we want to be as sharp as we can. And so we were looking at this long term, and we're thinking, we don't want someone to take Bluvos as this booster that's going to have less effectiveness over time. And so we looked at overall health and long-term health, and that brings us to our next two ingredients, which is the next one is Huperzia serrata. But essentially, what this does is it really actually helps prevent cognitive breakdown. So when we think about things like heart attacks and stroke, and people are taking multivitamins, people are taking aspirin to try and reduce the risk of these things. Well, have people ever thought about taking supplements to reduce the risk of cognitive decline? Okay. And what we has decided to do was put in Huperzia serrata and talk about, the idea that can this actually prevent a bit of cognitive breakdown. So we looked at that in terms of, can it prevent cognitive breakdown? And in looking at some studies, all right, the consumption, all right, with some patients with certain neurological damage over the course of 60 days, their condition actually improved by taking regular dosages of Huperzia serrata by as much as 43 to 70%. That's huge. And so we were looking long term at brain health and cognitive health, and so we have to consider: is this going to be healthy? All right, is this going to be a healthy long-term approach? And Taylor, you can certainly talk more towards cognitive decline.
Yeah, I think as far as looking at the long-term health side of things, it was really important for us, like you said, we didn't want to make something that was just going to be, something that's a short-term boost, but has no effectiveness over the long term, or you become so used to it, kind of like caffeine, where it doesn't really do anything for you. And so it was really important to us to look at, some of the super ingredients that are in the natural world, and all these amazing studies are coming out right now with all these, statistics showing just how powerful these can be for your long-term health, for your brain. Not that we want to say that this will cure any kind of disease or anything, but that, it can certainly help fight off the effects of some of the age-related cognitive decline type issues. And some of the studies that are coming out for these ingredients are actually showing that they can be just as effective, or sometimes more effective than the current leading pharmaceutical supplements or drugs that are actually being used for this kind of thing. So it was definitely really important for us to look at that. And just as for a healthy person, I think what it does is it just ensures that it shows you that you're really taking great care of your brain, and it's going to ensure that you're doing well over the long term.
And that's actually one thing that we found in a lot of the research, is that actually Huperzia serrata it's actually safe. It's one of the more safe memory aid supplements out there compared to a lot of competing memory aid drugs. And so you really have to think in terms of long term, right? Do you want to stay sharper longer, right? So Bluvos isn't just a supplement that's going to give you results now. It's going to be long term. And the long term that you're able to learn, that you're able to adapt to your environment, maintain that energy. It keeps you sharp. And I've seen so many people that will go into retirement and they won't be engaging their brains as much, and or they go on a long vacation and they won't be engaging their brain as much. And it's important to keep your brain engaged in order for you to prevent certain decline. And so what Huperzia serrata essentially does is there are certain chemicals in your brain that can almost fill it up. Right? There's toxins, like anything in your body, right? Things will build up. And Huperzia serrata actually works to either block those toxins or help clean out those toxins. So it's almost like a cleanse for your brain, to keep it clean, to keep it healthy, and to keep it functioning the way it should.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good to me. If I was in anybody else's shoes, I would definitely want that, especially if it's just as simple as swallowing a capsule.
Exactly. I mean, it really is that easy. And looking at the final ingredient, we're talking about vinpocetine. And what vinpocetine does is it's a lot like Huperzia serrata. All right, in that it helps regulate brain health. And one note to make clear is that Huperzia serrata is in fact a plant. It's a plant extract, and from that there's an ingredient called huperzine A that is the ingredient in Bluvos. So we want to make that perfectly clear that this is indeed a plant extract. And huperzine A is a derivative of serrata, and so both are completely 100% natural supplements. So looking at our final one is it's vinpocetine, and vinpocetine is essentially it's an extract of the periwinkle plant. I mean, we all love periwinkle. We like the color periwinkle blue, and periwinkle plant is very pleasant. But looking at vinpocetine, is what it actually does is it keeps blood flow to the brain, and it actually makes blood flow to the brain more efficient. So the brain is an interesting one. It's an interesting part of the body. If other parts of the body are denied oxygen or they're denied blood, most parts of the body, they'll be fine, right? Blood flow comes back, you'll be fine, things will be okay. But with the brain, if it's denied oxygen, if it's denied nutrients, if it's denied blood flow, then what's going to happen is there's going to be damage. There's going to be significant damage. And really, there is only a very few number of ways that blood gets into the brain, and that pathway is really only one pathway. And so we need to ensure that the blood flow to the brain is consistent and that it's healthy and that it's going to the right places. Because if there's damage to a certain part of the brain and there's not enough blood flow providing oxygen and providing nutrients to repair that, then that's going to be some permanent damage. So what vinpocetine does is it actually creates more efficiency in how the brain. And if there's damaged areas, if there's areas that are lacking, vinpocetine essentially maximizes on the blood flow in that area to compensate and to look at how it can really repair the brain to a point, of course, but it regulates blood flow to be more efficient. And I mean, you look at concussions or you look at general brain injuries. Now, obviously, vinpocetine is not going to cure any major deficiencies or any major injuries. And obviously, Bluvos is not meant to be a cure-all for any major injuries. But looking at vinpocetine, it essentially creates more efficiency. And in terms of long-term brain health, that's incredibly important. So when we look at our nootropic supplements, it's not a matter of, putting in ingredients that are going to make this immediate boost with an immediate crash. We're looking at day-to-day health and we're looking at long-term health. And we're also looking at maximizing on what your brain can do. And like anything, the brain needs, or the body needs training, the body needs nutrients, the body needs to be fed. If you're going to work out, you want to get more muscles, you want to lose fat, you obviously have to train it in a certain way. You obviously have to feed your body a certain amount of nutrients. The brain's the same way. If you want to get smarter, if you want to get more focused, if you want to be sharper, your brain needs training. And your brain needs the right amount of nutrients and the right supplements to get there. And so that's why we've chosen those 4 nootropics to put in the Bluvos formula. And again, check out Bluvos Academy on bluvos.com to check out in-depth articles on each of these nootropics. Now, there are a few other ingredients, and I'm actually going to bring it over to Taylor here to talk about them, is indeed there are vitamin supplements. I believe, Taylor, it's vitamin B and D, or do you want to correct me on that?
Yeah, so vitamin B12 and vitamin D, as well as the same amount of caffeine that's in a 12-ounce cup of coffee. And so, when we looked at an energy drink or, what gives you the actual energy boost from an energy product, it was caffeine, it was sugar. Obviously, we didn't want to put sugar in our product. That gives you those dirty spikes. But we did put a small amount of caffeine that's sourced naturally from Arabica beans, so from coffee beans directly. It's not synthetic, as well as vitamin D, because, who can't use enough, or who couldn't use more vitamin D? It's one of the best vitamins you can have. It's, countless studies have shown that it just has amazing benefits for you. And we just want to make sure that, if you're taking Bluvos daily, we want to make sure you get enough vitamin D. Vitamin B12 was one of the few ingredients in energy products that actually provide energy. Most of the ingredients in the energy product don't actually do much for energy. They're just kind of there just to kind of make you think that they do. So we put vitamin B12 in because it actually does contribute to mitochondrial ATP production. And mitochondria are kind of the batteries of cells, and producing ATP is kind of like that'd be kind of like the battery acid. So that's kind of like the juice that keeps us going. So vitamin B12 is essential in ATP production, and yeah, so that kind of rounds out our formula with those ones.
And what's great about having caffeine in our formula is we do want to provide you sustainable energy. We do want to provide you with the extra little boost that you need. Is you look at a lot of drinks and they have excessive amounts of caffeine, and we put in a naturally derived bit of caffeine, and it was a controlled amount, right? It was a small amount, and it wasn't that big. So it's a little bit of a boost, but nothing that's really going to cause this huge spike and this huge crash. Even better is the fact that we have all of these nootropic supplements regulating the body. It's also going to help regulate that caffeine. So if we're taking caffeine on its own, you're going to have a huge spike, you're going to have a huge crash. All right. But if you have caffeine with these nootropic supplements that are already regulating energy levels within the body, you're not going to see any crash. All right. And you're not going to see this massive immediate boost. It's going to be a sustainable release of energy, which is incredibly healthy. Obviously, Cody, as you can attest to, it's a good start to your morning.
Oh yeah, honestly, I do it every morning now, and I haven't stopped since, and it's just become a part of the routine. And if I don't take it, I actually notice it. So it's pretty important start to my day.
Yeah, exactly. And so much like anything, smart energy, nootropics are classified as the smart drug. It's we put vitamin B, vitamin D, rhodiola, huperzia, alpha GPC, vinpocetine, and caffeine. We put smart levels into our Bluvos formula. We're not putting in too much. We're not putting in too little. We're putting in just the right amount. We've created the formula ourselves. It is all naturally derived. And if you want to find out more, we have articles on Bluvos Academy, found on bluvos.com, outlining all of these ingredients. And so we don't hide any of our ingredients. We have them right on our website, and you can read in-depth articles about them. All right. They are also Health Canada approved, and there is a lot of certification behind this. We have a natural product number, and so it's not enough that we've just created a formula. We have some backing behind it. We have some numbers behind it. We have some data behind it, and we have some certification behind it. All right. So, guys, do you have any final thoughts on our fabulous Bluvos formula?
I think we did a pretty extensive job of covering everything. One thing I just kind of add in is, we when we were formulating it, not only did we look at the individual qualities of all of them, and Mikey did touch on it. All the ingredients were chosen because a lot of them do interact with each other really well. For example, one of the most popular nootropic combos is huperzine A and alpha GPC. Because alpha GPC is such a high source of choline, and choline helps with memory, and then huperzine A prevents acetylcholine breakdown in the brain, which actually in turn helps with memory. With proper usage of the choline to assist in memory function. So those two work really well together. That's just one example, but yeah, if I just had one more thing to say, it would just be that the whole formula was designed to work really well together. And I think that's why we see such a powerful effect, and that's why we get such good reviews. And that's pretty much it for me. So thanks a lot, Mike, for hosting this, and it was awesome to talk with you guys.
Yeah, and from my end of things, guys, if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. I'm sure you'll love it as much as I do. Whether you're a gamer or not, whether you just go to the gym, whether you're just working, that day-to-day job that you come home from and you're just feeling exhausted mentally or even physically, just give it a shot. Get it into your life, and just try it. Bluvos is awesome, man.
All right, thanks, guys. And if you do want to try Bluvos, check out our website, bluvos.com. So check us out, bluvos.com. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter. Check out Bluvos Cody on Twitter and on Twitch. And certainly if you guys have any questions, comments, or whatever, send it to us. As I said, we're on all social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and enhance human potential, enhance your life, and evolve your game with Bluvos. So until next time, we'll talk to you later.